Alright guys, we got a banger for you guys, man. We got our first ever tier list video on the channel. In today's topic, we'll be talking about UFC fighters and where I think they'll be projected in the year of 2025. Now guys, like the video, subscribe. I don't need to tell you to. You already should know to, man. We on a road to 500 subscribers. The subscribe button is for free, goddammit. So go ahead and help your boy out, man. But we'll be talking about fighters and where I think they'll be projected on the year of 2025. If you go ahead and look at the left-hand side of the screen, we have GOAT being the best on the list, Elite being right under that, Future Champ being below that, Average being below that, and Declining being below that. So guys, let's go ahead and get into it. We're not going to waste any time. First up on the list, we have Islam Makhachev. Now, guys, man, I have to go ahead and put him at the GOAT spot. I'm not going to overcomplicate things, man. This dude has wiped out the lightweight division, man. Beating Charles Oliveira in great fashion like that. You got to give credit where credit is due. Now, granted, I believe if Charles Oliveira and Islam fought again, I think Charles Oliveira, this new version of Charles Oliveira that showed out against Michael Chandler, destroys Islam Makhachev, I believe. But Islam has wiped out the division, so losing to Charles Oliveira, in my opinion, doesn't hurt him, and I still feel like it still solidifies him at the GOAT spot because, I mean, what more can this guy do at this point? Someone has to take that spot, so I have to go ahead and put him at the GOAT spot where respect is due, man. He's well-deserved at that spot. Next up on the list, though, we have Leon Edwards, and, man, I've been saying this for a long time, man. Leon Edwards is average. The only thing he has is the headshot dead to his name. Literally, that's the only thing he had, and that was a lucky moment. That will forever be a great moment, I will say, but that is a lucky moment, man. If that moment never happened, we'll be saying Leon Edwards is average easily without even questioning it. But ever since he had that headshot dead moment, you guys have been overhyping this dude, giving him way too much respect than he deserves, man. Ever since he lost the belt, what have this dude has been saying, man? Nothing on Twitter, nothing on Instagram, nothing to the media, nothing at all. He's just been silent, sitting in this cave after taking a mean loss to Bilal Muhammad, and that's who Leon Edwards is. He is nothing but an average player, to be honest, a B plus player is too nice for me to say. He is a C plus player, and that's all Leon Edwards is to me, man. Next up on the list, man, we got Alexander the Great Volkanovski, and guys, we gotta put him at the GOAT spot. I don't care what you guys say, we're not putting him at elite, goddammit. In 2025, I think Alexander Volkanovski will be considered the GOAT, man. Whether it is him retiring and being the GOAT into the people's eyes in the featherweight division. But guys, in my eyes, if you haven't been watching the videos, man, I've been saying this for a long time. Alexander Volkanovski is my GOAT behind John Jones, man, and I don't give a goddamn. Once Ilia Topuria goes ahead and relinquish that belt in the featherweight division, this is a great spot for my boy Volkanovski to go ahead and relinquish that belt back into his hands and keep the featherweight division in order, man. And that's a dream position that I hope will happen, and I believe it will happen, man. Ilia Topuria has made it clear that he doesn't care about the flyweight division like that. There's nothing that wakes him up in the morning to really like itch for these fights, and I think he is going to make that move up to the lightweight division, and it's going to obviously he's gonna have to relinquish that belt, and I think that's what happens with Ilia Topuria, and that leaves an open avenue for my boy Volkanovski to go ahead and take that shit right behind the belt. God damn it. Next up on the list, we have my boy Max Blessed Holloway, and this is a tough spot, man. In the featherweight division, I will put Max Holloway at elite. In the lightweight division, I don't think he's a future champ. I think he's nothing but an average player. If you go ahead and put this is a Max Holloway that's in the lightweight division, guys. Keep in mind, man, he said he's moving up to lightweight division. So in the year 2025, this is the only spot that I can think of putting him at, man. Granted, he did beat Justin Gaethje, but in my opinion, I think Gaethje's a jobber. I really do think Gaethje's just a jobber, man. This was a perfect spot for Gaethje to win, and he blew it. And that's all Justin Gaethje is known for in his career, in my opinion. Blowing spots that he's supposed to turn up on, he blows it. And that's all he does, man. So in that spot, it was a great spot for Max Holloway to win. But other than that, man, you go ahead and link this dude up with Dustin Poirier. I think Dustin Poirier smokes him. You link him up with anybody in that, Charles Oliveira, you Arman Sarukian, you name it, Rafael Fiziev. I think they all beat this dude Max Holloway, if I'm be honest with you guys. Next up on the list, we have Sean O'Malley, and we're gonna put my boy Sean O'Malley on the decline, man. Look at that bantamweight division, man. There's too many dogs in them, man. And in 2025, all I see is a loss for Sean O'Malley going against a lot of these opponents in the bantamweight division. Let's go ahead and name these dudes in the bantamweight division while we're at it, man. Umar Nurmagomedov, that's a loss. Merab Dvalishvili, that's a loss. Corey Sandhagen, that's a loss. Shoot, I was gonna say Aljamain Sterling. I don't know why that came to my mind, but shoot, those are just names off the top that you can just think that Sean O'Malley's just gonna lose to, man. And there is no path and avenue for my boy Sean O'Malley to go ahead and get to that championship belt anymore. And that's it. Shoot, Piotr Yan, that's a loss. Yeah, and that's just what it is for my boy Sean O'Malley. He's on the decline going into the year 2025. I believe that continues, man. Next up on the list, we have Sean Strickland. In 2025, I think he becomes a future champ. In that Dricus Du Plessis fight, Sean Strickland, I know for sure, is going to be a way better version of himself. There's no debate in that. Sean Strickland having more time, more preparation for a fight against Dricus Du Plessis is a Sean Strickland I will always back, man. And I think Sean Strickland takes the belt. And 2025, he is going to be a future champ, guys. Call me crazy. I know you guys a lot. I know a lot of you guys are saying Dricus Du Plessis is going to win, but that awkward style can only take you so far. Sean Strickland, all he has to do is just add more to his combination, and he wins the fight. Don't keep it within to where you're just throwing out a jab and a teep. If he just keeps it to a different tempo of beat towards Dricus Du Plessis within his fighting style, he easily wins this fight without even questioning it. And I have my boy winning the championship belt in 2025. Next up on the list, we have my boy Charles Oliveira. And we're going to put him at the elite spot, man. I want to say future champ in 2025, but I don't think it happens, man. I don't think he has a championship opportunity coming his way in 2025. Just for the simple fact, I don't think Islam Makhachev is defending his belt twice in 2025, damn it. I do think he does beat Arman Sarukian and retains the belt, but after beating them, I mean, does Charles Oliveira get the shot instantly? It's a lot of question mark that plays into it. Does he fight Ilia Topuria next? What happens? And I just don't see my boy Charles Oliveira just getting that shot in 2025, being the future champ. So he has to be at that elite spot, which is kind of crazy because when you really think about it, is future champ better than elite? Is it smarter that I put future champ ahead of elite? I don't know. About the same thing to me, but I just don't see future champ in his spot anyway, so he has to be at the elite spot. Next up on the list, we have Umar Nurmagomedov, man. And we're going to put him at the elite spot, man. I don't think he beats Merab in the first fight. I know a lot of you guys are just hyped up with Umar, especially him being Corey Sandhagen. But the way Umar Nurmagomedov beat Corey Sandhagen, I believe Merab could do the same thing. Merab could probably do it even better than what Umar did, in my opinion. And it sounds crazy, but in this fight, Umar against Merab, I think Merab takes it. Granted, if there is a second fight that these two have, I think Umar could take the second fight. But for the first fight, I'm going to take the more experienced fighter in Merab, a dude that's been in that spot, championship spot, and he wants that belt, and he's hungry for that belt. He wants that championship belt money, and he is going to fight for his life for that money. Umar Nurmagomedov, he is going to put up a fight, but going into those championship 4 or 5 rounds, I believe my boy Merab is going to baby my boy Umar. And it's going to be an interesting rivalry for sure, because that would not be the only time these two dudes face. That's for sure. But I'll put him at the elite spot, especially for what this man has been doing for a short amount of time. There's only one way he can go, man. Piotr Yan is next up on the list. Next up on the list, we're going to put Piotr Yan, and we're going to have to put him at average. That bantamweight division is stacked, man. And literally, it's only Umar and it's only Merab. Nobody else plays a name after that, and literally everybody else in that bantamweight division, in my opinion, is just average to me. So if there's any other bantamweight coming into this spot right here, literally they're just fighting for the average spot. I don't see future championship or elite in that spot for them. I know a lot of you Piotr Jan fanboys are gonna be like, oh yeah, he deserves to be at the elite spot, but he's just average in my opinion, guys. I'm just be honest with you guys. He's average, motherfucks. Next up on the list, we got Diego Lopez, and I think Diego Lopez is average. I know you guys are thinking I'm crazy right now. How is Diego Lopez average? What the hell are you talking about? But this dude, who has this dude fought? If you look at Evloev, you look at who Evloev has fought. This dude is fighting freaking Aljamain Sterling. Arnold Allen. The list continues, man. The lane, like, bro, you have to really just think about it, bro. This dude Evlo has beaten Diego Lopez, Arnold Allen, Aljamain Sterling, Dan Ige. But at the same time, we're talking about Diego Lopez being the next dude up to fight for the belt. Are you kidding me? Diego Lopez is just an average dude. You go ahead and look at the dudes Diego Lopez has recently fought. Let's really go ahead and think about it. Brian Ortega. Are we really talking about Brian Ortega? Dan Ige, which is like, yeah, that's cool. And Sadiq Youssef. He hasn't really fought anybody like that. So for us to put him at this spot, oh yeah, he's gonna be a future champ. Just stop it, man. We're not doing that. And that leads to the next person we're gonna talk about, and that is Evloev. Are we putting Evloev at the futures champ spot in 2025? No, we're not, because I don't think he gets that title shot, man. Evloev isn't vocal enough. Evloev doesn't talk much. Granted, he had a little bit of a back and forth exchange with Aljamain Sterling, and I'll give him some credit for it, because I would not think in a million years Evloev will be that type of guy to do that. So I'll give him some credit, but he's just still not vocal enough, and his game doesn't show too much for me to say he's going to be a future champion in 2025. I will say his skills are elite. Going against a dude like Aljamain Sterling and giving Aljamain Sterling a run for his money, people will say that Aljamain Sterling deserves to win that fight. But all in all, you got to put him at the elite spot for even tussling with the champ Aljo in a wrestling department, which is crazy. Next up on the list, though, we got Jon Jones. And do we have to debate Jon Jones? We'll put him at the GOAT spot, at the #1 spot, GOAT spot. Are you kidding me? This dude right here has done it all in the division, man. If you go ahead and look at the UFC stats, more than likely Jon Jones is basically the Wilt Chamberlain of the UFC when it comes down to stats. You look at takedown defense at a 98%. You look at takedown offense. You look at clinch exchanges. Look at whatever you want. Jon Jones is probably about top 5 at every spot. So how can you not put this dude at the GOAT spot? Look at Tom Aspinall. You go ahead and put Tom Aspinall. Let's bring him against Jon Jones. Jon Jones wiped through this dude easily, guys. So we're putting him at the #1 spot. I don't give a damn what y'all say, man. Next up on the list, we got Arman Tsarukyan. And I don't see future champ in Arman Tsarukyan's way in 2025. I just can't see this dude getting past Islam, guys. I just can't. So we're going to have to put him at the elite spot. He's an elite fighter, a guy that's going to go ahead and put a challenge to anybody in that lightweight division. He is going to be a gatekeeper for a long time. A lot of people will have to go through Arman Tsarukyan to get to their title dreams, more than likely. But Islam Makhachev is in the way, so we're going to have to put him at the elite spot. I just don't see him as a future champ in 2025. Next up on the list, we have Justin Gaethje. He's declining, motherfucks, and I don't give a damn what y'all say. Him beating Tony Ferguson, it hurt my heart. He killed Tony Ferguson's career. So now it's time that his career gets killed. Now I don't pray for it. I don't hope for it, for real. But damn it, it's time that you go ahead and reap the same repercussions that Tony Ferguson reaped. That's how I really feel about Justin Gaethje from time to time when you go back and look at that Tony Ferguson fight. All in all, I really hope Justin Gaethje comes back and be better. When you go ahead and have a good Justin Gaethje that's just tight on his skills, it's a Justin Gaethje that's going to be exciting to watch. It's going to be a Justin Gaethje that can put you on your toes to watch every time. So for him to go ahead and be on a declining spot, it hurts the UFC's numbers for sure. Not by a landslide, but just by a slight bit, I feel. Justin Gaethje is a name that can go ahead and put asses to seats and you have to fulfill that role. So I don't like putting him at the declining spot, but I just don't see anything for this dude in 2025 at this point, especially taking a loss to Max Holloway, which I feel like hurts his stock badly. Next up on the list, we have Dustin Poirier. Now, Dustin Poirier's stock, in my opinion, has taken a little bit of a jump up going against Islam Makhachev. He had a pretty good fight against Islam. I think he's not average. You have to put him at elite. It's crazy to put him at average. I just don't see future champ in the year 2025 for him. But for sure, this dude is gonna put on a fight, and he's gonna put on elite fight against anybody in the lightweight division, for all I'm concerned. So there's no debating Dustin Poirier at that spot. Next up on the list, we have Dan Hooker. For the year of 2025, do I see Dan Hooker being a future champ? Yes, and that is the BMF belt champ. I don't know how they're gonna set it up. Charles Oliveira versus Dan Hooker for the BMF belt. Charles Oliveira versus what? Max Holloway. However you want to put it for the BMF belt. However you want to shape it up. That's what I want to see. And if Dan Hooker fights any of those two dudes for the BMF belt, I'm taking Dan Hooker for the win any time of the day. I'm saying Charles Oliveira into that equation because I feel like Max Holloway isn't the BMF champion. After losing to Ilia Topuria, it should be vacant, and it should be a Dan Hooker versus Charles Oliveira fight, in my opinion. So that's why I'm just adding that equation out in the air. You guys call me crazy all you want. That's not going to be the first time I heard that I'm crazy, but that's where I'm feeling about it. Next up on the list, we have my boy MC Michael Chandler, and he's on the decline, man. Quite frankly, I feel like if this dude even fights Paddy Pimblett, this dude takes a loss. Like, I never thought in a million years would I have said that out loud. Michael Chandler losing to Paddy Pimblett, and that's something that I just see happening, man. Granted, if these two dudes, that fight does get booked, I'm still going to put some sharp money into Michael Chandler just because my heart is saying it. I would never put money on Paddy Pimblett. It's a scary dude to put money on. I'm telling you, look at that Jerry Gordon fight. All Michael Chandler has to do is just be another Jerry Gordon, in my opinion. But in the world, I see Paddy Pimblett being Michael Chandler. In 2025, you go ahead and look at the division for Michael Chandler. He is just going to absolutely get mauled by a lot of these dudes in the division, and that's just the bottom line of it. I think Jalen Turner even dominates Michael Chandler if these two dudes face each other. And shoot, keep calling out for that Conor fight. Hopefully you get the money fight. That's the only thing I can see that's left, to be honest. Rafael Fiziev in 2025. I see Rafael Fiziev making a step up, man. I feel like he's been gone for a long time. He's been real silent. A lot of people haven't heard much from Rafael Fiziev. You think this dude has gotten cut by the UFC the way this dude has been silent. But I feel like Rafael Fiziev is going to make a huge step up into his game, man. He's going to be absolutely elite. Rafael Fiziev, he knows there can't be any more losses into his career. There can't be any more L's coming out his way, dishing out his way. So he knows there is only way is just to be up. He has to refine a lot of tools in that toolbox. I don't know if he makes those slight tweaks. I can see him being elite status in 2025, and that's a guy that I wouldn't mind putting some money on. Especially to start the year off in 2025, try to make a name for himself. Next up on the list, we got Paddy Pimblett, Paddy Pimblett, and we're putting him at average at best. I don't think Paddy Pimblett. You go ahead and look at that lightweight division, guys. Like I said, man, you got Jalen Turner, you got Moicano in there, you got Arman Tsarukyan, Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira. The list goes on. Dustin Poirier. The list goes on in that division, and there's a lot of names that boy Paddy Pimblett has to go through, man. And I don't see him going through those names, let alone Michael Chandler. It's hard for me to see him going through Michael Chandler, even though there is a better avenue of him winning that fight against a lot of the other names that I said. But it's tough for Paddy Pimblett, in my opinion. He has to make a huge step up in his game for me to really think that this dude has even a slight chance to even win the belt. Next up on the list, we got Shavkat Rakhmonov. And I think Shavkat is average, guys. We're going to lead him at the average spot. He's another average guy that you guys are just overhyping, guys. Look at that freaking Ian Gary fight. What did Shavkat Rakhmonov show you guys? He didn't show you anything. You think Shavkat will be an absolute killer going into that fight. But what did Shavkat do? Grab Ian Gary all day, literally. He just hugged him. while Ian Gary was at least trying to show a little bit of a fight, all he did was hug Ian Gary and try to just clinch and then from time to time throw a heavy strike out of nowhere. It was real stupid, the game plan that he had against Ian Gary. And if that's going to be the same game plan that you're going to bring against Bilal Muhammad, you're going to get smoked against Bilal. And that's just the bottom line, man. Kamaru Usman, guys. We're going to put Kamaru Usman at the GOAT spot, man. When it's all said and done, man, you look at this dude, man, there's nobody that's going to be doing what Kamaru Usman has been doing for the welterweight division. Bilal Muhammad has the best chance to do it, so I will give him credit where credit is due there. But this dude has done a lot for that division, so you can only look at Kamaru Usman as one of the welterweight GOATs. Obviously, it's hard for you to put him against GSP, but in our recent times, he's a GOAT. And that's the only spot you can look at Kamaru Usman at this point in his career. So any fight he's taking, it's literally somebody that's getting their stock up, and it's a possible chance that Kamaru Usman's stocks go down. But the name will always be Kamaru Usman as one of the greatest of all time in the welterweight division, like it or not, no matter how many losses he takes at this point of his career. Next up on the list, we have Ian Gary. And I think Ian Gary is another average Joe, man. I really want Ian Gary to be an elite fighter. I really do want Ian Gary to hold the belt. I really do. Like over Bilal Muhammad, if I had to choose Ian Gary or Bilal Muhammad, who would I rather have the belt? I would rather Ian Gary. And guys, I like to see the villain sometimes, guys. Call me crazy, but I like to see the villain hold the belt. I like the Randy Ortons of the WWE. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying Ian Gary is the Randy Orton, but he reminds me a lot like Sheamus. And he is the Sheamus of the UFC. And I wouldn't mind him winning the belt. But he's just not at that level at his career. And I just see that for Ian Gary. So he is an average Joe, in my opinion. Alex Pereira. We're not going to put him at the GOAT spot, guys. We're going to put him at elite. And he is going to lead the pack at elite. You go ahead and look at who's Alex Pereira that's fought in. He's fought in Israel Adesanya. Cool. He's fought in Yuri Prochazka. Cool. But you go ahead and look at Yuri Prochazka. The dude has barely won the belt against Glover Teixeira. Barely won it. Let alone after he won it. Just didn't have any title defenses after that. Got an injury, gave up the belt, and then it's just that for him. You look at Jamal Hill, about the same thing for your that Yuri Prochazka had. Jamal Hill had won the belt, got an injury, and then relinquished the belt. And that's just who Alex Pereira has been fighting. Number 8th ranked Khalil Roundtree. I mean, that's cool and all, but I need to see him fight Uncle Live, and if he beats Uncle Live, he will get to that GOAT spot. But for right now, he's at the elite spot. Next up on the list, we have Kobe Chaos Covington. And he is at the declining spot, guys. He is declining, man, and it hurts me to see it, man. I really wanted Kobe Covington to beat Joaquin Buckley, and he just couldn't bring it. And he got decimated at that, man. There was nothing in that fight that really showed a positive for Kobe Covington's game. Joaquin Buckley looks head and shoulders better than him, and quite frankly, I just see him falling from this point on out in the year of 2025. There's nothing left for Kobe. I feel like he should retire soon. Maybe come out with a win. I don't want his career to end up with a loss. Maybe end it with a win, with a huge win at that. Probably beat Ian Gary or something, and then call it a career. But I just see nothing but decline for my boy Kobe Covington at this point. Next up on the list, we have Joaquin Buckley. For the year of 2025, do I see my boy Joaquin Buckley being a future champ? I see him being elite, that's for sure, man. This dude looked absolutely nasty going against Kobe Covington, showing that he is head and shoulders better than Kobe Covington, taking him behind the woodshed. But I have to put him at the elite spot, man. I don't see him getting a chance for the belt in 2025. I see him getting a chance for the belt in 2026. Granted, he had a lot of fights in 2024, and he can possibly have that same. Actually, we're gonna put him at the future champ spot. Do I see him? We're gonna nah. I don't see him beating Bilal Muhammad. We're gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I just don't see it. But this dude is calling out dudes like Kamaru Usman and stuff like that. Like, if you beat Kamaru Usman, that's an instant shot for the championship belt. And Bilal Muhammad is going to be an active champion, more than likely. So it's like you have a chance to fight for the belt. And there is an avenue for you to be. And we're gonna put future champ. There's an avenue for you to be the future champ. I'm not gonna overcomplicate it. Israel Adesanya, at this point, he's elite. He's a GOAT, man. He's a GOAT. I'm not gonna go ahead and even disrespect Adesanya. I went against Israel Adesanya on the Dricus du Plessis build up, and I was right. Dricus du Plessis went ahead and beat him. But even after a loss like that against Dricus du Plessis, you can still look at Israel Adesanya as a middleweight GOAT, like him or not, man. And that's just the God honest truth with Israel Adesanya. Next up on the list, we have Hamzat Chimaev. And this is a future champ, man. You guys go ahead and look at the middleweight division, man. You go ahead and date it back to the point when Alex Pereira beat Israel Adesanya. He beat Israel Adesanya, lost the belt right after that to Israel Adesanya. And then Sean Strickland went ahead and beat Israel Adesanya. And then Dricus du Plessis went ahead and beat Sean Strickland, and then beat Adesanya right after that. And this has been nothing but title changes after that. And I think 2 title changes are going to happen within the year of 2025 in the middleweight division. And that's going to be Hamzat Chimaev winning the belt against Sean Strickland, and Sean Strickland winning the belt against Dricus du Plessis. And that's how I have the middleweight division shaping up, to be honest. And maybe some order getting set by Hamzat Chimaev, beating everybody else that comes across his way. Maybe an Israel Adesanya versus Hamzat Chimaev fight that can happen in 2026, possibly. But that's us overthinking it. Let's get on to the next fighter. We got Robert Whittaker, the Reaper Whittaker. Robert Whittaker in the middleweight division, we'll put him at elite. A Robert Whittaker that's saying he wants to move up to the light heavyweight division is going to be an average Robert Whittaker, man. There's some big dudes in that light heavyweight division. You mean to tell me Robert Whittaker against Yuri Prochazka? I just don't see it. That's not a good matchup for me. Rakic against Robert Whittaker, not a good matchup. Jamal Hill against Robert Whittaker. A lot of these matchups just doesn't favor well, in my opinion, for Robert Whittaker. So Robert Whittaker that's in the actually it's gonna be a Robert Whittaker that's declining. I can't even say he's average. I don't see him being a lot of these dudes in the light heavyweight division. Maybe I'm just downplaying Robert Whittaker, but he is going to be on a huge decline if that's going to be the case for his future. But that is a light heavyweight Robert Whittaker that I am grading, guys. That is not a middleweight Robert Whittaker, by the way. Next up on the list, we have Shara Bullet Magomedov. And we're going to put him at average, man. I feel like he should have done better against Arman Tsarukyan. And Arman Tsarukyan gave him a run for his money. Besides him getting that little spinning back fist knockout, Arman Tsarukyan gave him a run for his money. And it's like, okay, yeah, you're pretty decent. You're pretty cool. I need to see him beat MVP. And if he can beat a dude like MVP, I will put him at elite because it shows that his striking skills will be at elite status. And his striking is going to be a thing that you have to worry about at a guaranteed spot. There's no holes in his striking if he's able to do something like that. But we're gonna put him at average. You go ahead and look at the average list. It's not a bad spot to be at, man. You have Shavkat Rakhmonov. I can't put you ahead of him, man. You have to be there by default. I can explain this and say this and that to you guys, but it's average by default, motherfucks, and that's just what it is. Next up on the list, we have Ankalaev. And I think Ankalaev is elite, man. This dude is going to be scary, man. To be honest, I think he's going to be the future champ. I think he's going to be a future champ. I can't even put him at the elite spot, man. This dude, Alex Pereira, is in trouble, man. If this fight gets booked, Alex Pereira might as well just hand the belt to Ankalaev. You might as well say you had an injury or something. This dude Ankalaev is a scary mother effer, and it's clear as day that Alex Pereira is ducking Ankalaev. Alex Pereira doesn't want to take this fight against Ankalaev, but that is the fight to make, and it's hard for this boy Alex Pereira to even run away from it. He tried, and he did it successfully going against Khalil Roundtree, but you just can't keep doing it. You can run all you want, but one thing you can't do is hide, and I see my boy Ankalaev winning the belt, and think the odds came out already. The future betting odds, if these two dudes were to face, and Ankalaev was pretty much favorited in that fight. I don't know about how much, but motherfucks was favorited, motherfucks. I gotta stop saying that. I don't know if that's gonna mess up my monetization. Shit, we're not even monetized. We can say fuck, bitch, anything we want anyway, so we don't really care. Ozdemir, losing to Carlos Alberg. I think he's going to be on the average list. I feel like he put on a good fight against Carlos Alberg. And it's gonna be he's always gonna be a gatekeeper in the light heavyweight division. No matter who fights this dude, he's going to be a tough fight for anybody. So you have to go ahead. We're gonna put him at the decline spot in 2025. I'm ranking him based on 2024. You got to do it based on 2025. I can see him on the decline spot. The light heavyweight division is only gonna get better and better, and I just don't see him moving up. On where it's only a decline from at this point. I don't see him moving up in his career. Johnny Walker on a decline. Don't have to even explain Johnny Walker to you guys. Getting brutally knocked out by Ankalaev, getting destroyed. Cyril Gane on a decline. You guys are overhyping Cyril Gane, getting his ass washed by Volkov, and Volkov should have won that fight. It was a clear robbery by Volkov, and I didn't understand why they did my boy Volkov that way and why they did my pockets that way, but we're going to talk about that another day. Sure, let's talk about it right now, goddammit. I don't know why the UFC judges are just blind. Literally, why the UFC judges don't see the things that we see? Like, the whole entire world see that Volkov won the fight. How the hell did Cyril Gane end up winning the fight? That's something that will be abysmal to me. Something that I will never understand. But from that fight, I see nothing but Cyril Gane being on the decline and Cyril Gane not being good on the wrestling department. His wrestling offense got better, but his defense will always be the same. He will always make those same boneheaded mistakes, like go for a leg lock. Like why would you do that? I don't understand why he does it, but that's a dude that you guys said that was a minus 200 favorite, better than freaking Volkov. Next up, we had Ilya Taporia. And by the year 2025, by the time it ends, I feel like this dude will be considered a GOAT. This dude is already going up for Fighter of the Year, beating dudes like Alexander Volkanovski, beating dudes like freaking Max Holloway, knocking them out. And now he's looking to fight Charles Oliveira, then Islam Makhachev. This dude is already at a GOAT level. There's nobody that's doing it right now. You go ahead and look at the numbers for what there is right now. Ilya Taporia is just killing it right now in terms of just numbers. And he is literally just one big fight away just to make a huge superstar name for himself in the year 2025. And I can see him making a pathway for something, just for something to happen that's just going to be favorable for himself, and he's going to make himself a bigger name than what he is already. He has his brother joining the sport, which is going to also help his name propel bigger than what it is. And if his brother is good as Ilya Taporia, it's like, what the hell? You have a bifector there, and it's like you can't stop that. A brother factor that's gonna be elite at that. It's gonna be tough. Next up on the list, we have Alexander Volkov. We're going to throw him at the elite list. I think Volkov has a path. I think he's a future champ in 2025. Call me crazy, but I think even, let's just say, actually, no, you have John Jones there. John Jones. No, I'm crazy, guys. My fault. We're going to have to put him at elite. I forgot John Jones is going to be around for a little while. I just read that John Jones had a little 5-year plan saying that, I forgot what he said, but it's a 5-year plan. Basically, he's saying that he wants to be in the heavyweight division for 5 years. There's not going to be a lot of guys that's going to be able to beat John Jones within that time frame. But he has a spot to be a future champ if Tom Aspinall wins the belt. I can see my boy Volkov being my boy Tom Aspinall, if I'm be honest with you guys. So he has a spot to be a future champ, but we're going to put him at the elite spot. And I don't give a damn what you guys are saying, man. I think Volkov is better than Shavkat Rakhmonov, Leon Edwards, Max Holloway, Piotr Jan Lopez, Paddy Pimblett, Ian Gary, Shara Bullet. I think he's going to have a better spot than these dudes in the year 2025. A better spot. That's all I'm saying. A better spot. Next up on the list, we have Raul Rosas Jr. It's gonna be on the decline of the year 2025. Hasn't showed anything. There's no splash of nothing for Raul Rosas Jr. besides the jiu-jitsu. His stand-up game needs a lot of work. It's clear as day that he needs some stand-up game work, and he needs a game plan to work with the stand-up game. Um, and I just see a decline for Raul Rosas Jr. Man, he's just too young for the game right now. And he's just gonna get beat up by the time the years goes on, and this is gonna be one of the years where I see a downfall a little bit for Raul Rosas Jr. and the UFC is probably gonna baby him and give him some jobbers or something like that. But I see a decline definitely happening for Raul Rosas Jr. Next up on the list we have Ibo Aslan. And Ibo Aslan, man, this dude is an absolute animal, man. This dude has been knocking dudes out in the first round, going crazy. So for the year of 2025, do I see this dude being an elite fighter? No. Do I see this dude being a champion in the year 2025? No. But I see him being average. It's gonna be a very good average fighter, a guy that's gonna bring the excitement. But I need to see him go farther in rounds. I need to see him in round 3 scenarios, deeper in round 2 scenarios. I just really haven't seen that. I just seen this dude go crazy just by knocking people out. Next up on the list we got Curtis Blades. Don't need to even explain it. It's gonna be on a huge decline within the year of 2025. You have dudes like Mick Parkin. Even if he fought Jalton Almeida again, I think Jalton Almeida takes that. You have dudes like John Jones, Tom Aspinall, Volkov. Shoot, even Cyril Gane beats him. Shoot, even Derek Lewis, in my opinion, beats Curtis Blades. I think he's on a huge decline within the year of 2025. Not much need to be explained there. Yuri Prohaska, I think he's going to be on the decline of 2025, man. Yuri Prohaska hasn't been showing much. Even though he beat Rakic, which was a good win, he barely beat Rakic. Losing to Alex Pereira right after that, and I think he's going to lose to Jamal Hill. Is this going to be nothing but a losing trifecta for my boy Yuri Prohaska? And I don't see much paths to victory for him at this point in the light heavyweight division. I see him being another Alexander Gustafsson that had a little bit of that actually won the belt, but that's all I see for Yuri Prohaska. Next up on the list, we have Kai Asakura. And before this dude even got onto the UFC, I already thought this dude was on the decline. I don't see much for this dude, Kai Asakura. I think Kai Asakura is way overhyped. And that's just what it is, man. I'm not even gonna even overcomplicate it, man. Getting dominated by Pantoja like that, going into the year of 2025, I'm expecting this dude Kyle Sakura to go ahead and just make a leap in his game plan and in his game already. I don't see that happening. I see him being an absolute jobber, and I see him declining even more than losing to Pantoja. Next up on the list, we have Askarlov. Pretty solid fighter, man. We're gonna put him at average. Has a fight in Saudi Arabia. If I'm not mistaken, I'm forgetting against who's opponent. Solid. Not much need to be said. I'll put him at the average spot. Not much need to be said. Bo Nickel. Hurts for me to put him at this spot, but Bo Nickel's declining, man. I really thought Bo Nickel could have been the next UFC champ. Look at this dude wrestle. You think, golly, this dude is a magnificent wrestler. But this dude did not want to even test Paul Craig with his jiu-jitsu, which I found crazy. Granted, Paul Craig is a nasty with his jiu-jitsu. But for you not to even test him in that avenue not one time shows that you overthink it too much and you really don't want to go ahead and inflict your pain. And your pain is the ground and pound. You didn't want to do that, and I'm disappointed in him for not doing that. And it's that simple, man. We had to put him at the declining spot. I don't see anybody that he can really go ahead and dominate in the welterweight division, and that's just the God honest truth. Next up on the list, we have Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. We're gonna put him at the elite spot. Bilal Muhammad is absolutely nasty, man. This dude put Leon Edwards and flushed this dude dead on his head, on his brain, on his membrane at that. Let me go ahead and add. But we're going to put him at the elite spot. I feel like if he goes ahead and beats Shavkat Rakhmonov, it helps him propel to be at the GOAT spot. But he still needs a little bit more than being Shavkat Rakhmonov to get to that GOAT spot. Maybe a couple more title defenses after that, then we'll be talking. But For right now, I think putting him at the elite spot is a perfect spot to be at. Drake Du Plessis, I believe a title change will happen in 2025, and Drake Du Plessis will just be another elite fighter. I want to put him at the yeah, he'll be another elite fighter. We'll put him there. I'm not gonna put him number one at the average spot, which I was highly thinking. I think he'll be another elite fighter, another fighter you can just be scared of, another fighter you have to be fearsome of. And I think Drake Du Plessis at that spot will be a perfect spot for him. Next up on the list, we got Merab Dufwashwili. I think he retains his belt. I don't think Umar Nurmagomedov beats him, and I think it helps him become a GOAT. Even though I feel like if he beats Umar, what questions are there for this dude to not be a bantamweight GOAT? It's not really hard to be a bantamweight GOAT. That spot is open for a lot of fighters to go ahead and take that spot. And if Marab could go ahead and beat Umar, it would be hard for a lot of people to go ahead and have that type of resume that Marab has, man. And it's that simple, man. So I'm going to put him at the GOAT spot. At the end spot of GOAT. Tom Aspinall, the interim champ of the heavyweight division. We're going to put him at elite. At the end of the day, this dude is knocking people out in freaking 1 minute. You got to go ahead and get credit where credit is due, man. This dude is an elite striker. This dude is nasty. But at the end of the day, elite isn't better than GOAT. And you got the GOAT, John Jones, right above him at the number one spot. And that's who Tom Aspinall has to face. The best of the freaking best. So I'll respect him and put him at the elite spot. But he still has to face the GOAT. And guys, last but not least, we have Alexander Pantoja. And we're going to have to put him at the GOAT spot, guys. I know it's a lot of people that I'm putting at the GOAT spot. And I know a lot of you guys are like, what the hell? Why are you putting him at the GOAT spot? What are you doing? Pantoja's going to wipe through that flyweight division. There's nobody for Pantoja to fight. Literally, he went through everybody, goddamn it. And he's just going to go ahead and rinse and repeat it again. At this point, you have to go ahead and put him at the GOAT spot without even questioning it. The only person that can go ahead and challenge him, in my opinion, at this point is what? Henry Cejudo and Demetrius Johnson. Besides those two, I mean, who go ahead and really give him a run for his money. So is that a spot where you got to go ahead and put respect on Pantoja's name and say that this dude is the GOAT? But all in all, guys, this is my full tier list for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know what to do. Like the video, subscribe. You're on the road to 500 subs. So go ahead and help the cause. You are growing the community. The subscribe button is for free. So help your boy out, god damn it. And without further ado, you guys know what to do. And yeah, pray to the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Give him thanks. Let him know how grateful you are for him, man. That's my little message for you guys. I don't know. Appreciate you guys for making this far. Move.